Hey everyone, welcome to today's Lunch Lesson Live. I'm so glad you're here. Give me a little wave or a thumbs up if you're here. So glad to see you. Today, I'm so excited. We are going to be talking about freebie strategy. It is one of my favorite topics because I love what a freebie can do for you, right? I love getting creative about what different freebies you could offer to entice your audience, your ideal audience, to come and check you out and get into your world, right? It is one of my favorite strategies. So I'm so glad you're here. Let me know if you are on the live or the replay. Just type live or replay below. I would love to know who comes here on the day of and who's checking us out later. So thanks so much. Awesome. So today we're going to talk about, like I said, ideas on freebies. That's one of my favorite things, as well as how to create them and how to use them. So definitely stick around. This is going to be for you. You don't want to miss it. Just a quick shout out to everyone who voted. Thanks so much for voting on the poll. Every Tuesday, I put out a poll on the topics we should chat about, discuss every week. So if you have a topic that keeps coming up for you, I would love to hear what questions you have for your business, right? What is coming up for you that you feel like could move your business forward. I would love to hear your questions on social media, being a business owner, how to get more clients, any of those things, right? Feel free to suggest a topic on that poll, or you can vote on the ones that I've suggested there. So thanks so much to everyone who voted. All right, so who is this video for? This video is for go-getters and action takers, right? If you are a woman coach looking to move your business forward, I feel like summertime, sometimes we all like to take a little step back, and I get it, and that's totally fine if that's your speed. But this summer, I am claiming it. It is for women coaches. We are going to be successful. It is time while the kids are resting, right? It is time for us to take control of our businesses and take some action. So this is for you if you are a go-getter and an action taker. I am here for it. All right. So I always like to say in these videos, right, stay in your abundant mindset. So that can mean a bunch of different things to a bunch of different people, right? For me, abundant mindset is really that all things are possible and you have the power to change, right? You have the power to change your life, change your attitude, change your mindset. You have the power, right, already inside of you. So we can just stay in that abundant mindset. And I always say, right, it is way easy to say, oh, of course I have an abundant mindset, but right, give me a bad day. And it's so easy to kind of fall in those valleys, right? It's so easy to fall back into that sometimes lack mentality, right? Even in the light of success, right? I feel like we often still get stuck in these comparison modes. I feel like often our fear can still creep up, right? And it is so preeminent. Is that the right word? It is so prevalent. That's the word I was looking for in business owners, especially women business owners, right? It is so common to be comparing ourselves to others, think that we're not doing enough, think that we are an imposter, right? It's just so easy to fall into those mentalities, right? So we want to stay in abundance, know that you have the power. There is room in this market, I think, for everyone, every business owner. If you have a calling, right? I love that from our recent book. If you were in our book club, if you have a calling to serve others, that is the universe telling you confirmation that there are clients to serve. Right? So if that message rung true with you, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. All right. So if you are, and really quick, right? I always like to say, if you are watching this video, I like to really get to the nitty gritty, right? We're not going to talk a lot about fluff, but actual action things that you can take for your business. So I would charge you to take 2 action items, right? If you're listening to this video or, going about your business and listening, or if you're watching, I would definitely try to think about what are 2 things that I can take away from this video that I could apply to my business today, right? Take 2 action items that could really help your business. And feel free to tell us below, right? I would love to hear in the comments, what 2 action items are you taking away from today's video? I would love to hear. Okay, so real quick as a background, right? If you're new here, my name is Christina, and my husband and I started a little bike shop coffee shop back in 2014. I love talking about the bike shop coffee shop. It was our dream business. It was so much fun, right? We loved building that brick and mortar store. And we loved getting to know our community, right? It was so much fun to have people coming in the door and getting to know people. And it was such a learning experience, right? And I always say at the beginning, right, we built this beautiful bike shop, right? We set up our social media accounts. We did all the things, right? Got the permitting. We went through the whole process. And then we realized, oh my gosh, if we build it, people just don't come, right? It is so scary to build something and just expect people to come. We set up our social media accounts and expect people will come, right? And it unfortunately doesn't happen as smoothly, right? We learned that very quickly. So at the bike shop, we learned really quickly, right? I needed people coming in my door right now, yesterday, right? So that's when we really had to get creative with marketing, right? And that's often the place where I think business owners find ourselves, right? Is that we've built a business and we tend to focus on the things we can control, right? So we tend to focus on fine-tuning our product, perfecting our message, working on our posts, making pretty pictures, right? That tends to be the focus. And I was there, right? I was there for many, many years because I thought that was all I had control over. Well, all I have control is perfecting my posts on social media because it's free, right? I control it there. So often we focus on those things because we think that's all we have control over, right? And so it really took me so many years because I was stuck in this phase of posting and hoping, right? Just posting, I'll keep posting. One day the right people will find me, right? And that is such a long process, right? So at the bike shop, and I wish I had remembered this lesson, we realized we needed to go to where our customers are, right? And there's a couple of different ways to do that, but I really think the freebie is one of the greatest ways to attract the right clients, but also go to them and offer your freebie, right? So at the bike shop, we often, and this was one of my favorite freebies, is we would create these really fun coloring pages, right? And they were some of them could be like adult coloring pages, with the really tight swirls and fun designs. And some of them were more kid friendly, right? We were really appealing to families and kids' bikes and that kind of thing. So we would go to where they were, right? I would go deliver a stack of coloring pages to the daycares, to the schools, wherever I could put them, other businesses, right? I would go to where my target audience was and give them something, right? Give them a freebie. So it wasn't just a coloring page. There was a coupon at the bottom that said, come in for a free coffee, right? I just needed people to come in my door because I needed people to see what we had, right? I needed to give them a reason to come check me out. So that is what a freebie really does, right? Is it gives them something in order for you to get something from them, right? And in the online space, we're talking about emails, right? That is the best way to capture an audience is to grab their email. So we're going to talk all about that, right? So after the bike shop, right, sadly, we had to close. And it was such a learning experience. I love taking that lesson and so many lessons from the bike shop. But I really turned it into my passion, right? I turned it into my passion to help other women business owners because I feel like with the right tools and the right tricks and the right knowledge, right? And all of us have learned different things along the way. And I feel like if we can share our knowledge, pass it on to the future generations, right? We can all be successful. I really believe that because there are so many successful women out there and there are so many business owners and we're all at different levels. If we could all kind of share what we've learned along the way, I think we could all be so much more abundant, right? We could all be so much more successful. So that is my goal, to help other business owners. So I'm so glad you're here. And if you have any ideas that you feel like big lessons, right? I would love to hear below. What's a big lesson you learned that was an aha moment, right, for your business? Whether you've learned it from, any of my videos or just in your, natural progression of your business. I would love to hear it below. Feel free to share with others, right? That's the goal. That's the goal of this group, is to support each other. We rise together. That is my goal. And we can share our knowledge so that we all rise together, right? That's the goal. Okay. So back to the freebies, right? So freebies, that's why you're here. Freebie strategy, again, is my favorite marketing tactic. And the first step, I'm going to share with you kind of 3 tips on what to think about when you're thinking about your freebie, right? And kind of setting up this system. So the first step is to really think about something that you yourself would want. What is something that would be really enticing that you yourself would give your email address for, click on something for, right? What is something that you would want? So it's got to be a little bit of value, right? And I would say high value, something that is really an aha moment, right? What I love about thinking about this is if you're kind of on the fence of whether you need a freebie or if you're not really sure about different ideas, right? I love helping create ideas. So if you are stuck on freebie ideas, feel free to say so below. I offer a free strategy call, right, for everyone in this group that I would love to help you figure out a freebie and kind of set that up for your system. We can always talk about that. But when you're thinking about something that you would want, think about what that looks like, right? And related to your business, right? You want to get people in the mindset of your business. So this could be so many different things, right? It could be a list of resources that you found. It could be a top 10 favorite, wellness tricks, or top 10 favorite products, or, something like that, some kind of freebie that gives them something that you yourself would want and that they obviously would want. So that is tip number one. Really think about something you would want. And a great place to look for this is Canva, right? If you missed last week's video, feel free to ask for it below, say Canva tips below. But last week we were talking about Canva, and Canva is a great place to find tips. If you just type tips, right, in the templates, you will see so many. But you could type in like wellness tips, parenting tips, anything that's related to your business. And it will give you all kinds, right? Social media tips, business tips. There are so many different tips, and that will spark some ideas for you, I think. But Canva is such a great place to look for freebies. So definitely check that out. And freebie ideas, right? You could even search for printable. I like the idea of a printable because it's something that you wouldn't normally post, right? If it's a picture that you would normally post, that might be a post, right? And people aren't necessarily downloading pictures. They might be, but downloading pictures and saving to their phone. Whereas a PDF is a little bit more tangible. They can save it to their files. They can print it out and hold on to it if it's like a checklist or a top 10 list, or something, or a special article or something that is enticing to them, right? That would really be, I think, a hot freebie. So those are some ideas to think about, definitely using Canva, but think about something that you yourself would want. So that's really tip number one. Tip number two, right? Once you've got your freebie idea, the important thing is get their emails, right? That is the whole point of all of this. That is the entire point of creating a freebie, is that you want to get something from your customer. You're giving them something in order to get something, right? That's the whole idea. So this can look at a couple of different ways, right? My favorite strategy using a freebie is the Facebook group, right? Obviously, I love Facebook groups. I think it is the quickest and easiest ways to capture your audience, as opposed to posting over on your social media profiles, right? On your social media profiles, people are scrolling, maybe liking, and they are gone, right? It is far quicker to capture an audience with a Facebook group, because you have the questions to qualify, right? We talk about that a lot, that you have entry questions before they can get into your group. So you are qualifying people into your group. It is like qualifying followers, right? Over on your social media profile, nobody's qualifying those followers, right? You could have a lot of spammy followers that are completely not in your target audience. You have zero control over that, right? They might find you because they like your picture. They might find you because they want to sell you something, right? Which is fine in a lot of cases, but you have no control over those followers. In your Facebook group, you have control over who gets in, qualified people, right? You want to get qualified leads into your group. So with those qualifying questions, you can ask, do you want this freebie? Would you be interested in this top 10 list of resources? Would you be interested in my parenting tips? Would you be interested, right? And it can be something enticing like, affirmation printables, or an ebook, right? That would be another idea too. If you have like an ebook that is something that you're willing to give for free. But any of those ideas, right, are great printables. But in those questions to qualify to enter your group, definitely one of the questions should be, do you want this freebie? Drop your email. That way, immediately coming into the group, you're figuring out, are they in your target audience? And are they interested in your freebie, right? Immediately, if they drop your email, boom, now they are a lead, right? Now they are a qualified lead and they're getting something from you. So that is definitely tip number 2, right? You want to get emails. So whatever this looks like, and I would always suggest a couple of different ways, right? So if you have your Facebook group set up, definitely have one of your questions be, do you want this freebie? Drop your email. And then you can collect those emails and make sure you either copy and paste them to your CRM or however you're doing that. I just started using group leads, right? If anyone else is using group leads, tell me below. And I'm on the fence, right? It's pretty handy. It's pretty automatic, but it's still fairly manual, right? I've got to do a lot of steps along the way. But anyway, tell me below if you have found another group add-on that allows you to grab those emails and put them directly into your CRM. I would love to hear. But group leads is pretty good. And so once you collect those emails, right, you obviously got to keep track of them. But I would also suggest having some way to collect emails on your website so that you can send people that are not in your Facebook group, right? You can send them to a landing page with a form to fill out, right, to collect emails. That would be another way. So definitely, I think having a button somewhere or another place for people to sign up is another great way to just add to your funnel, right, and make sure that you're collecting freebies. But I see this so often where people are just posting freebies, right? They'll share a link to a PDF or in another Facebook group, right? They're just offering the freebie. Here's the PDF. And I think, oh my gosh, if people want that freebie, the whole point is you want to collect emails, right? So if you don't have their emails, you want to make sure you're sending people to a place where you can collect their emails or they can enter their email. So if you're sending people to your Facebook group, that's one way to get them the freebie, right? Or that they can sign up for the freebie. Or a landing page or some kind of form so that you have a process that you collect their email before they get the freebie, right? And some people are, a little more loosey-goosey, and that's okay with your freebies. If you want to give something, not always get something, that's fine too, right? That's amazing for the universe to put it out there if you want to give something for free and hope that people will come back in another way, and that's okay too. Or if everyone in your group has already entered their email, probably not, right? Probably not everybody in your group has entered their email, but you could offer it there too as well. It's just a freebie as a exclusive freebie for your group members or something like that. But definitely if you're over on your public profiles, you definitely don't want to be sharing a hot freebie that's just a link, right? You want to have a way to collect their emails. And that is another great way to capture your audience over on the social media profiles. If you don't want to send them to your Facebook group or they haven't been sent or they're not interested in your Facebook group, they still may be interested in that freebie. So as long as you have a way to collect the emails, right? That is the goal. Okay, so that is tip number 2. The third tip, right, and the third part of this process is the follow-up. So you may have a bunch of people who are interested in your freebie and you send them the freebie, or you have a system in your CRM that sends them the freebie automatic. And then I see so many business owners stop here, right? This is it. This is where everything ends. You've sent them the freebie and then you have moved on to the next person who's interested in your freebie, right? So the third step is really the follow-up. You really want to have a system for, okay, I sent you the freebie. Now I'm going to follow up. I'm going to wait a couple of days. Hey, how did you like that freebie? Hey, would you be interested in more on this freebie? So that's often a strategic way of thinking about what type of freebie you want to offer. Is that leading them to your offer? Is that getting your client in the mindset of whatever your offer is? So if you're offering like a free guided meditation, something like that, right? That would be a great freebie. You want to make sure that's part of your offer. So if your guided meditation is about, thinking about wellness in your body or thinking about a positive mindset, is your offer more of that, right? Or giving them more in that same space. So that way you can follow up with that freebie and say, hey, how did you like that freebie? Where are you at in your wellness journey? Did you find this helpful? Are you interested in more, kind of a thing, right? That's kind of the progression of that conversation, because the whole point is to, one, collect their emails, but then get them into your system and warm them up to your offer. So also the follow-up process could look like more emails, right? So the whole point is, if you've collected their emails, you definitely want to be following up with an email system, right? So if you have collected emails, and I see this a lot too, right? That people people often collect emails and then do nothing with them, right? If you're in this category where you've collected a bunch of emails, but you're not sending a newsletter or you're not sending follow-up emails, right? That is so, I see it so often, and it's okay, right? It's completely okay it's just part of the process, right? It's easier to collect the emails than do something with them, right? And that's okay. But if you have questions about what to do with them, right, feel free to ask me below. But the point is really to then follow up, right? Obviously. So if you have collected emails, you want some type of system that warms them up to your offer. So whether that is just a DM script, right, where you are following up directly in Messenger or on Instagram, or another way to message, LinkedIn. You definitely want a system of keeping track, right, of who you're going to follow up with and after how many days, and what you're going to say after that. So those are some things to kind of work on, how you're going to follow up, but definitely also think about, if you're collecting the emails, what are you going to do with them? So have a system for, okay, I'm going to send weekly emails, and each of those emails is going to lead them to my Facebook group or my offer, or, right, what is the next step in that client journey? So you definitely want to be thinking about kind of your overall journey, but also how you are going to use this freebie to get people in your system and then do something with them, right? You've got to warm them up. So it's not enough just to collect emails, right? Obviously, you want to warm them up to your offer. So that would be the next piece of the freebie strategy, right? Is figuring out, okay, now that they wanted my freebie, right? How does this warm them up to my offer? And then how am I going to start that conversation? Or what's their next step? What do I want them to do? Do I want them to sign up for a Zoom call? Do I want them to sign up for, right, a course that's coming up? Or, right, what's the next step? Do you want to send them a video that also gets them in the mindset? Or do you just want to start a conversation that gets them moving in that direction, right? Interested. Because if they're interested in your freebie, they hopefully would be interested in your offer as well. That's the goal. Okay, so that is pretty much it for my main three topics, tips for strategy, for a freebie strategy. If you are looking for more ideas on what you should offer as a freebie, right, feel free to say so below. I would love to hear. I always, like I said, I'm happy to set up a free strategy call with anyone here that if you are interested in figuring out what type of freebie to offer and how that looks in your system, I would love to talk about it with you. Feel free to just say strategy below. I'll definitely reach out to you. I would love to chat more, because I think the freebie is such a great way to, again, collect emails and start warming up your audience, right? It's a great gateway, I say, right, into your offer. So definitely if you don't have a freebie, definitely think about that. And Canva, again, is a great place to start. Pinterest is also a great place to start, right? If I say that Instagram is the least clickable, Pinterest is the most clickable. So if you have that landing page for your freebie, or that form, or, right, how people are going to sign up for that freebie, that is a great link to have a pin that goes directly to that link. That's why Pinterest is so clickable. Every single pin has a URL that can link to where you want them to go, right? So it has a link to a URL. It can be a different URL, or you can have multiple pins going to the same URL, right? But every pin is clickable. And most people, it's mostly moms and women, right, are over there. They are used to clicking. They are used to getting that printable, used to clicking off Pinterest to get that freebie. So it's a great place to have your freebie there as well. All right, so feel free to say strategy if you're interested in a chat of figuring out how a freebie could work for you into your funnel, into your system, into your Facebook group. That's my favorite way of using the freebie, for sure. So if you are feeling stuck, right, in your business, I always say staying stuck is far scarier. I know, right? I know this firsthand. It can be scary jumping out of your comfort zone, for sure. It is scary to take a risk, right? It is scary to jump into the unknown. It is often our fear creeping up saying, hey, we haven't done this before, right? So if you are at a stuck place in your business and you are trying to make moves forward, it's going to take a scary step out of your comfort zone, right? But I always say it is far scarier to stay stuck, right? Because when you're staying stuck, you have no hope. Yes, your fear won, and it's comfortable, right? But it is far scarier because you have no plan for the future. If you're not going to make a move, then what? right? I always say it is scarier, far scarier to stay stuck than to take that leap of faith and to take that risk, invest in some coaching, invest in that next course, right? Whatever that next step is for your business, it is far scarier to stay stuck. So definitely leaping out of your comfort zone, right? I know it can be scarier, but I think it's far worse to stay where you are, right? No growth can happen outside of if you're staying in your comfort zone, right? Growth doesn't happen when you are letting fear win, right? You've got to, if you want to move your business forward, if you want to grow your business, you've got to step out and take a little bit of that risk for sure, right? So I always offer, right, one-on-one coaching. If anyone is interested, my Lead Accelerator program, I'm so excited about always, because it is about getting more leads, right? You don't need more followers. You need actual qualified leads into your business every single day, right? So if you don't feel like you are getting leads from your social media profiles, and it is far harder and way what's the word, complicated to, I think, get people to do anything over on your social media profiles. It is far easier to capture people inside your Facebook group. So I think that is the best way to get people from your social media profiles over to your Facebook group. I think that is the goal. That is way easier to warm that audience up and get them into your offers, get them into your system, get them into your business, right? That is I think the best way to move followers, turn likes into leads. That's what you need, right? You don't need more followers who are just going to scroll and pass by, right? You need people who are taking action to your business, actually interested in what you offer. So if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, again, you can just say strategy below. I'd love to reach out to you. I think one-on-one coaching is so important for businesses, right? My big secret is that coaches use coaches, right? If you are a coach and looking to move your business forward, the quickest way to do that is to learn from the people who have gone before you, right? Don't waste years trying to download all the free content and, take another free course. It is so hard to do it yourself, right? Or I know you could do it, right? You are resourceful. You've created your business this far, but it is going to take you far longer, right, to figure all of that out on your own when you can just learn from the people who have gone before you. I really think that is the key to moving your business forward for sure. So don't waste years, right, reinventing the wheel like I did, right? Learn from the people who've gone before you. I made all the mistakes so that you don't have to, right? I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did and waste years in this posting and hoping strategy, right? I spent years waiting and hoping, right? And until finally I learned the strategies that actually work, and I want to share them with you. So I would love to do that. If you are not getting 5 to 10 qualified leads to your business every single day, let's talk, right? If your Facebook group is not getting you qualified leads every day, we've got to make some changes, right? So just say strategy below. I would love to chat with you about how to make that Facebook group work for you. It is a gold mine. I think Facebook groups are so hot, right? They've been hot for years, but I think it is such an effective way to capture your audience and warm them up to your offer. I think it is the easiest way to turn your chaos, right, into clients. So if you are ready to move your business forward, let's talk. I would love to help you out. All right, feel free to say, any questions you've got below. I would love to hear from you, or you can always reach out to me directly on Messenger or Instagram. I'd love to help. But that's it for today. Thanks so much for sticking around. We'll see you on the next one.